are these people?
We're up to our not so favorite portion of the show, and that would be the fuck Israel portion. I brought two articles that are very similar, that are both out of Indie Media Award honorees. The first one is out of Council of State Media. Our friend Ricky wrote an article the other day. Israel is pretending to feed Palestinians while continuing to starve them. I don't think this is a surprise to anybody here. All right, he says, by now you've probably seen the images of Palestinians being crammed into cattle holds and being forced to beg soldiers for food. They had to stand in blistering heat for hours after walking 10 to 15 miles, and remember, they have no water, only to be given meager scraps, or in most cases, be turned away without anything. Over 30 people were reportedly abducted by IDF soldiers while queuing, and others were shot.
The Nazis changed, but they never went away.
This is an unbelievable scene. Right, this is a scene that we thought would never happen again. We literally saw these scenes in Nazi Germany.
Yep.
3 Palestinians have reportedly been killed and 46 injured during this so-called aid distribution effort, which was distributed by U.S. mercenaries. The smiling teen on the right, who had just received aid a few hours earlier, was reportedly shot dead by an Israeli sniper. Here's a clip of an emaciated man explaining that he walked 10 kilometers to get aid and the IDF killed a young man in front of him. I'm unclear if he's talking about that guy or someone else, but either way, you can see how it's going to end, how going for aid is fraught with danger for Palestinians, but they literally have no other choice. It's like Hunger Games, literally.
Literally fucking Hunger Games.
Desperate Palestinians
Stupid.
They tried to overrun an aid complex in Rafah because it appears that food was deliberately being withheld from them. Warning shots were fired to disperse them, but many escaped with food that had not yet been given out. The aid distribution effort is being run by a charity called the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation.
One thing: the bigger the smile, the sharper the knife.
You guys covered that on Wednesday. Yes, you guys covered that Wednesday, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, that it was anything but humanitarian. All right, which is comprised
the Wednesday before that, too.
Which is comprised of
what the fuck was going to happen?
U.S. mercenaries in coordination with IDF soldiers. They have no experience.
What's the group? It was Blackwater. Now it's fucking
Constellation Group.
No, it's something with. I'll look it up. Hold on.
But it was Constellation. But they have no experience in delivering aid, and what they're giving out is hopelessly insufficient. And that's by design. Again, starvation plus. We talked about this a Saturday night. I talked about this with the Dissident on our one-on-one last night. Take a look at what their aid packages contain. Note how nothing appears to be ready to eat and will require preparation from people living in tents. Good luck feeding your family with this. They figured out how to turn pasta into back into flour. I saw a video about that.
I did see that. Yeah.
Clearly, this is not
Italians don't look. It's fine.
Right. This is not a serious effort to distribute aid to 2 million people who are only starving because Israel destroyed 80% of their farmland and stole their land. It's exactly what you would do if you wanted to make the process as difficult and degrading as possible and wear Palestinians down while maintaining the pretense that you're helping. This again, remember, all of these gray area is the annihilation zone as we referred to it. I went through that on last Sunday. Fuck Israel. All right. If you doubt what I'm saying, just know that the American head of the GHF, Jake Woods, has resigned in disgust, and I hear there have been other resignations. It appears that Woods accepted the role with good intentions, but realized that he'd be unable to do his job ethically, which again was the intent. He criticized Israel for not allowing sufficient food and provisions into Gaza and said, because he actually had to look these people in the eye, he found some empathy. Look at that. I'm proud of the work I oversaw, including developing a pragmatic plan that could feed hungry people, address security concerns about diversion, and complement the work of long-standing NGOs in Gaza. However, it's clear that it's not possible to implement this plan while also strictly adhering to the humanitarian principles of humanity, neutrality, impartiality, and independence, which I will not abandon. Guess who's asking him to abandon his senses of humanity, neutrality, impartiality, and independence? I'm guessing it's not the Palestinians in Gaza. Woods had previously stated that Constellus, okay, he will not be part of anything that forcibly dislocates or displaces the Palestinian population. I don't know why he would have accepted it in the first place, because they already were displaced. Further displaces them forcibly? What? Huh?
Mm.
The UN refuses to work with the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, saying that this particular distribution plan does not accord with our basic principles, including those of impartiality, neutrality, and independence. Thanks, Eric Prince, and thanks, Trump administration. And again, this would have probably happened under Kamala Harris, too. Don't make no mistake.
Kamala.
The Lemkin Institute for Genocide Prevention issued the following statement, quote, "The U.S.-backed distribution of aid in Gaza using ex-military staff is a weaponization of food and a grotesque mockery of humanitarianism. This cruel spectacle is meant to distract from Israel's plans to forcibly displace all Palestinians from Palestine or murder them. Such action is as far away from humanitarian aid as one can go. We call it what it is, a tool of genocide." Yeah. It's awful.
You better say free Palestine.
Yeah, fucking diaper gang. That's right. That's right, Sean. All right. Only 7 aid trucks, 7, have been allowed into Gaza so far because Israel is, of course, stopping UNRWA and the World Food Program from entering. UNRWA says we have over 3,000 trucks, not only of food, but of medicine, waiting for the green light to go in. And they will never get that green light from Israel, at least from Israel. The U.S. will have to back them with our tanks, with our troops, to allow them to go in, which doesn't seem like that's going to happen either. They're carrying medicines, and they're expiring soon. Again, Israel's intent is to let those medicines expire, to let the milk go bad, to let the produce go bad. The U.S. claims that the GHF has distributed enough food to feed 40,000 people. That's 2% of the population that's left in Gaza right now, over 3.5 days. However, a Gaza relief coordinator called Ayad Amawi claims that even that figure is exaggerated and insists that Gaza needs 600 aid trucks a day. All right, here's the statement.
We don't have time for rational solutions.
He says, to clarify what's happening with the American organization operating under the protection of the Israeli military is the following. They announced the existence of a warehouse in Tel al-Sultan area west of Rafah City. Dozens of civilians voluntarily headed there without any organized distribution system to receive a food parcel, as you may have seen in some circulated photos. The process does not allow any regulated distribution mechanism like those previously managed by UN agencies. It's merely a demonstration, a way to claim that aid distribution has resumed, but it hasn't. The minimum distance a person must walk to receive a food parcel that barely lasts 2 days is more than 15 kilometers. There's no public transportation. They destroyed every vehicle. There's no roads. Only basic local tools like donkey-drawn carts can sometimes reach the area if the IDF doesn't shoot a donkey. A humanitarian appeal, which we verified, was issued by a family whose relative was detained during the distribution due to the military's presence nearby. The military demanded that relative give over information about another relative that hasn't been seen since October 7th. It's crazy. A humanitarian appeal, which we verified, was issued by a family, again, whose relative was detained. This situation constitutes humiliation and degradation of the Palestinian citizen by intent. The current procedures resemble a ghetto, with people forced to enter through detour routes to receive aid in a degrading manner, and again with no system in place. I seem to recall our president of the United States free throw shooting paper towels to Puerto Ricans in need of aid at one point. So this is on
like that's a
brand.
fucking free throw shot, bro.
This
That's
is
like
on
Shaq
brand.
trying to free throw, dog.
All right.
You know,
This
fucking.
is ineffective and fails to reach large segments of the population. Again, by intent, they want to starve them out. They want to drought them. We are talking about tens of thousands across the Gaza Strip who will not be able to access these aid points by intent. A single distribution and location in Rafah, the heart of a military incursion zone.
Which,
go ahead.
I want you to think about like a single fucking point. Again, single point, one place. How many people do you think are starving? How many? Take a guess. Okay.
Rafah's
Like,
right there.
How many? That right. Okay. Also, none of them are in the fucking north. There isn't any up there.
Nope. No,
why do you
aid
think that
making it
is?
up there? Because they want to starve everybody out. They want to basically cut it in
And
half.
push it towards the fucking sign up.
Push them all right out.
Yep.
All right.
To Egypt. And then, once you make them in Egypt, then you claim Hamas is in Egypt, and you fucking take Egypt too. Like, that's... Do you not see the fucking secret plan? In fact, I do believe it's General's plan, no? Isn't that what it's called?
That is what it's called. Pretty sure you guys covered that.
Thank you.
All right.
I know shit.
Some shit.
Fucking just gotta remember it.
It will not be effective unless aid distribution is returned to a system managed by UN-affiliated institutions, ensuring neutrality, fairness, and inclusivity in the process, which, again, Israel has no intent to want to do. So you can say that, but you're just gaslighting because you know that they're not going to. And you're calling them out for what they're not doing, which is nice, but doesn't really help. Yes, they're pushing them into the sea. Not from the river to the sea, from the river into the sea is what they're trying to do. 2 million people. Yes. Thank you, J-Dub.
They want them past the Nile. From the Euphrates to the Nile. They want all that shit. Take all that shit is the goal.
You would think that a 3-month starvation blockade followed by an insincere aid effort would be a moment of shame for even the most ardent Zionists, but instead, they've come to social media to say this proves no genocide is happening and that the IDF is the world's most moral army and other such nonsense. Which other army would feed their enemy? What? First of all, the people of Gaza were never their enemy. There were 20,000 fighters within that 2 million that they claimed to be their enemy, who also were not their enemy because they have been imprisoning all of them since they were born. They ask, admitting that they see civilians as the enemy. They gave the game away right there. It looks no different from queues at an airport. That looks like lines at an airport? What fucking airport you been to, buddy? Where does that look like TSA, where people are literally lining up for food and crawling over each other and getting fucking shot at? Fuck these people, these gaslighting fucking Zionist cocksuckers. All right. Here, another one. At Auschwitz, they killed people. We feed them. No, you killed them. You killed them. Ignoring that people were fed at Auschwitz, too. Yeah, they actually fed all the prisoners there, and the prisoners actually worked and had somewhere to sleep. Not just tents. They didn't have to walk 15 fucking kilometers to get a drink while they were fucking dying of thirst. The whole narrative is that these horrendous scenes represent a generous aid distribution effort, but this isn't how you distribute aid. No other aid organization in the world funnels people into cattle holds, makes them stand in uncomfortable conditions for hours, hands out a few meager scraps to a small number of people, refuses to feed the rest, and then opens fire to disperse them.
I did not see what she was. Mr. Worf, villains who twirl their mustaches are easy to spot. Those who clothe themselves in good deeds are well camouflaged.
Fuck yeah. Captain Picard, dropping knowledge. Aside from anything else,
laying it down, dude.
Aside from anything else, you're asking the victims of a genocide to go to the soldiers who are exterminating them and beg for food. It's incredibly dehumanizing. Those same soldiers are about to cram the Gaza population into 3 concentration camps where they will have full
and throw
control.
tear gas at them.
Well, and with full
while
control over
giving them food.
every aspect of their lives because of this digital ID and this, the digital registration that they now have to do in order to be able to get rations. To imply any part of this process is ethical is frankly grotesque. All right. So Ricky made me mad with that one, but that was a really good piece that had a lot of detail. I also wanted to bring Jonathan Cook's, which is very similar. All right. But slightly different. A short guide on how to starve a population to death. Just basically observing and taking the playbook. And again, remember, this gentleman allegedly was shot and killed after this picture. All right. A short guide on how to engineer a genocide by starvation and ethnic cleansing. Choose your moment. Okay, you've been ethnically cleansing, occupying, oppressing, and killing your neighbors for decades. The international courts have ruled your actions illegal, but none of that will matter the minute your neighbors retaliate by attacking you. Don't worry. The Western media can be relied on to help out here. They'll only be too ready to pretend that history began the day you were attacked. Literally had a conversation, sadly, with my Zionist father about this, and he's like, oh, they'll October 7th. I said, it didn't start October 7th. What happened October 6th? What happened in all of 2023 when over 250 Palestinians were murdered by the IDF? What about the tens of thousands of Palestinians that are sitting in Israeli jails right now without charge? Children being tortured.
That's just a phase, Dad.
Declare in response,
Yeah.
Number 2, your intention to starve your neighbors, treating them as human animals, which Yoav Gallant did, which Bezalel Smotrich has done, by blocking all food, water, and power, which Netanyahu has happily done. You'll be surprised by how many Western politicians are ready to support this as your right to defend yourself. The media will echo them.
What the fuck ever.
Not to just talk about blocking aid, you must actually do it. There'll be no serious pushback for many, many months. Start relatively slowly, time's on your side. Let a little bit of aid in, but make sure to relentlessly smear the well-functioning, decades-old aid distribution system run by the international community. One that's transparent, accountable, and widely integrated into the community it serves. Say it's infiltrated by terrorists and that all of them are Hamas. Yes. Then they use that claim, which is evidence isn't really necessary, of course, and the Western media never asks for it, as the pretext to bomb the aid system's warehouses, distribution centers, and community kitchens. Oh, and don't forget to bomb all the private bakeries, destroy all the farmland, shoot all the animals, and kill anyone who tries to use a fishing boat, so there are literally no other sources of food. You are now in control of the trickle of aid reaching what is rapidly becoming a malnourished population. Time to move into higher gear, number 5. Stop the international community's aid getting in altogether. You'll need a humanitarian cover story for this bit. The danger, particularly in an age of social media, is that images of starving babies will make you look very bad, but hold firm, you can get through this. Claim, again, evidence isn't really necessary, and Western media won't ask for it, that the terrorists are stealing the aid. Don't believe your lying eyes. You'll be surprised how willing the media is to talk about babies going hungry, ignoring the fact that you're starving them to death, or speak of a famine as though coming from drought and crop failure, not from your carefully laid plans. Again, this sounds like a country that actually did that. Situation is dire. Yes, it is, because Israel did so. Number 6, don't lose sight of the bigger story. You're blocking aid to eradicate the terrorists. After all, what's the worth of a baby, a child, all 1 million of them, in the fight to eliminate a ragtag army of 30,000 lightly armed terrorists, quote unquote, who've never waged their struggle outside their historic homeland? Now consider that the population are entirely at your disposal. You can roll out a humanitarian alternative to the existing system that you've been vilifying and wrecking. Probably best to have been working on this part of the plan behind the scenes from early on, and how to have regularly consulted with the Americans on how to develop it. You may even find that they're willing to fund it. You usually are. You can obscure their role by using the term private contractors. Where have we seen this playbook before? Now it's time for implementation. Obviously, the point is not really to distribute aid. It's all about providing a cover story so that the starvation and ethnic cleansing can continue. And that's what we're seeing right now. Make sure you provide a tiny amount of aid and make it available to only a few distribution points that you've set up with these private contractors, and this has two advantages. It forces the population to come to the areas you want them in, like luring mice into a trap. Get them to the very edge of the territory, because from there, you'll be best positioned at some point to drive them over that border and get rid of them for good. Disgusting. Number 10. Your system will lead to chaos as desperate, starving people fight for food. That's what they want. That's great for you. It makes them look like a swarming mass of these human animals you were talking about from the start. Don't they deserve their fate? And it means that fit young men, the ones who survive, especially those from large, often armed criminal families, will end up with most of the food. The stuff they can't grab at distribution points. They'll ambush later as people try to return home laden with their heavy aid packages. They'll just steal it from them there. They'll knock them out and take the individual packages. That may seem counterproductive given that you're claiming to want to eliminate the terrorists. Won't these fit young men, as conditions degenerate further, provide a future source of recruits to the terrorists? Yes, so that they can continue to bomb and claim that they're being assaulted. But remember, the real goal here is to starve the population as quickly as possible. The young, the elderly, the sick, and the vulnerable are the ones who'll die first. The more of them who start dying, the faster the pressure builds on everyone else to flee the territory to save themselves. You're nearly there. True, faced with the emaciated bodies of your victims, Western politicians will start making harsh pronouncements, but they've already given you a massive head start of 20 months. Be grateful for that. Israel, you don't need much longer. While they dither, you can get on with the job of extermination. Leave it to the history books to judge what really happened. And that's awful. This is written from, it seems, from the perspective of a Zionist and what their plan would be. And who thinks like that? And how do they get to a point where they think like that? Shout out to Jonathan Cook for trying to reverse engineer how they think and why, and put that out there so that other people will read just how monstrous their thought process is. Because when you read it like that on paper, it sounds fucking insane. And yet this is exactly what's happening right now. All right. Well, we certainly will not be remonetized by YouTube for saying fuck Israel and showing this kind of stuff. So if you're able to at a means, please help out Cash App, Ko-fi, PayPal, Indie News Network, however you can. That works out great. The people who are highlighted there are people I want to give a special shout out to. You've got James and Sean, the Accord Lord Miller, and Anna Mayers, Kameshwari Kate, Natalie Williams, and Charlie Mack. Those are the super supporters, the people who have given consistently and the most over time. We love you. We appreciate you. We can't do the damn thing without you. And you motivate us to continue to do this. You motivate me to keep working my ass off every day and put content out and put out a daily newsletter and write articles and make sure that we've got a show on Sunday night ready to go for everybody.
You're learning so many important things, and I'm so proud of you.
So thank you, really, to everyone. Even if you can't get on that board and all you do is share the show, thank you. Share the show. Share the fucking show. Support independent media because we need it more than ever. Love you, fam.
Bye-bye. Mwah. Ciao, baby. We go party.
No! We just fucking lost the stream.
You can't keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your heads. Why play civil if you won't listen? 50,000 died. And now we know our mission. We form a militia, make Congress a prison.